Breaking news just hit the wire. The New England Patriots are officially severing ties with their seasoned offensive weapon, Stefon Diggs. Word on the street is that management explicitly told the superstar he is out the door when the fresh league calendar kicks off next week. The entire pro football universe is trembling. In a jaw-dropping blockbuster maneuver, the legendary pass catcher has been shipped directly to the Kansas City Chiefs, teaming up with phenomenal signal caller Patrick Mahomes and iconic tight end Travis Kelce. Nobody predicted this colossal bombshell, but once you uncover the dark truth driving this breathtaking transaction, your entire perspective on the situation will flip upside down. Let us rewind to the collapse. As the 2025 professional football offseason kicked off, the gifted athlete was enduring absolute rock bottom. Back in 2024 with the Houston Texans, his knee utterly gave out, completely rupturing his anterior cruciate ligament. That catastrophic trauma steals far more than a single athletic campaign. It violently rips away a massive chunk of a warrior's soul. When your livelihood relies entirely upon surgical route running, explosive agility, and creating pure distance from terrifying defenders faster than lightning strikes, an annihilated knee signifies infinitely more than structural pain. It represents a merciless assault on your very essence within the gridiron trenches. Therefore, when New England rang his line during the 2025 spring period, sliding a massive 3-year pact across the table, valued somewhere from $63.5 million to $69 million, the central mystery was incredibly basic. Did this wounded gladiator possess enough physical vitality, insatiable drive, and absolute laser focus to remind the universe that he remained an apex predator in this ruthless industry? Looking solely at the breathtaking warfare he unleashed on the unforgiving turf throughout 2025, the verdict was an earth-shattering affirmative. He did not merely limp through his debut campaign up north, he absolutely dominated. Wrapping up the standard schedule, he snagged 85 miraculous grabs, racking up 1,003 receiving yards alongside 4 spectacular scoring strikes across 17 brutal matchups. He spearheaded the squad's aerial assault, serving as the ultimate safety blanket for Drake May. That remarkable feat cemented his 7th monumental 1,000-yard receiving milestone across his past 8 grueling campaigns. Such relentless greatness permanently elevates him into the sacred pantheon of legendary wideouts from his generation. Yet the box score barely scratched the surface. He transformed into the undisputed alpha within those locker room walls, firing up the troops with electrifying pre-game battle cries, fully embracing the gritty identity head coach Mike Vrabel was forging from the ashes. He passionately guided their fresh-faced offensive commander, helping the rookie navigate the terrifying waters of professional football. Battling through the 2025 campaign, this phenom crushed every single performance bonus thrown his way. He single-handedly accelerated his youthful signal caller's development. Between those chalky boundaries, he manifested into the exact savior New England desperately craved. Consequently, the squad accomplished something far more magnificent than merely scraping into the postseason tournament. They ignited a magical, unstoppable march straight towards Super Bowl 60, tragically meeting their bitter demise against a juggernaut Seattle Seahawks squad on the ultimate stage. However, storming the grandest championship arena during the very first chapter of the Vrabel regime, armed with a novice tosser and a pass catcher recovering from a shredded knee, is anything but a defeat. That breathtaking saga represents an unbreakable empire being constructed right before our eyes. Our star wideout served as the fundamental beating heart behind that glorious uprising. Shockingly, as the sun rose on March 4th, 2026, the front office coldly notified their premier weapon that he was getting the axe the second the fresh operational year commenced on March 11th. In a flash, a mesmerizing title chase, a spectacular 1,000-yard explosion, and one unforgettable journey vanished into the abyss. Suddenly, the narrative twists into a chaotic labyrinth, because the motivations driving this ruthless divorce are multifaceted. First, we confront the almighty dollar, the incredibly convenient financial excuse that every single suit in the boardroom loves to feed hungry journalists during press conferences. Then emerges the sinister off-gridiron scandal the toxic drama executives nervously murmur about in shadowy corridors, while unfiltered digital broadcasters scream it into their microphones. Finally, you must decode the devious contractual architecture, seamlessly woven into the original paperwork, a ruthless framework exposing exactly how cold-blooded New England's true agenda was from the jump. We absolutely must kick things off by following the cash trail, considering that green currency is the undisputed king of this gladiator sport. Back when he inked his signature during the 2025 spring hiatus, the brilliant executives engineered the initial 12 months to be ridiculously advantageous for the organization's wallet. His salary cap penalty back in 2025 sat at a mere $10.5 million, an absurdly magnificent bargain considering the terrifying historic firepower he possesses. Management was basically gambling an experimental 12-month trial on a wounded soldier. They cleverly rigged the paperwork so that, should catastrophe strike, they could sever the cord without losing a dime. Conversely, retaining his devastating talents for 2026 meant an astronomical financial detonation. His projected cap damage for that upcoming calendar year rocketed to $26.5 million, immediately crowning him among the most outrageously expensive commodities, adding terrifying fuel to the fire. Keeping him dressed in navy beyond a critical early March checkpoint would instantly lock in an extra $6 million of fully guaranteed wealth into his bank account. Those brilliant strategists in the front office absolutely refused to let that perilous timer hit zero. By mercilessly cutting the cord prior to that financial tripwire, they flawlessly dodged the massive monetary bullet, instantly hoarding roughly $16.8 million in extremely precious salary cap relief. This savage maneuver explosively expanded their total operational war chest to a jaw-dropping $55 to $57 million right as the frantic open market bidding wars loomed. That massive fortune ranks as the 7th largest treasure trove across the entire professional landscape. The arithmetic is completely heartless, devastatingly ruthless, yet entirely indisputable. When you command an elite athletic empire and suddenly possess the incredible power to hurl $16.8 million directly into fortifying your monstrous offensive trenches, your terrifying edge rushers, your brutal linebacking unit, while locking down your homegrown youthful superstars, you pull that trigger without a second thought. You execute that ruthless cut even if the legendary casualty literally just dragged your franchise into a championship rumble. However, mere economics wildly fails to paint the entire chaotic picture here. If you dare to interrogate league insiders or tune into the frantic broadcasts led by legendary Hall of Famers, an incredibly dark secondary narrative rapidly bubbles to the surface. This hidden, scandalous chapter intimately revolves around our star receiver in ways that completely abandon the glorious realm of spectacular routes or electrifying end zone celebrations. Rewind to December 2nd, 2025. A reportedly explosive confrontation erupted inside the athlete's private sanctuary out in Dedham, Massachusetts, sparking a furious battle against his former culinary specialist. Flipping through the chilling official law enforcement documentation, this ugly friction initially ignited over a furious dispute regarding missing financial compensation. The aggrieved cook fiercely maintained she was brutally shortchanged. This volatile powder keg rapidly detonated far beyond a petty cellular text skirmish. Based on her harrowing testimony, the imposing superstar menacingly invaded her personal quarters, flew into a blinding rage, forcefully delivered a terrifying physical blow to her profile, and then reportedly locked his powerful arm tightly against her throat in a deeply alarming maneuver, stealing the very oxygen from her desperate lungs. The cook alerted the police, bringing fierce official indictments by December 30th, 2025. Facing severe accusations, a choking felony paired with brutal physical strikes, this crisis reaches catastrophic levels of danger now. Such grave choking accusations within Massachusetts trigger devastating consequences, meaning potential lockup upon a guilty verdict. By February 13th, 2026, merely days following New England's crushing Super Bowl 60 defeat, Diggs faced the music inside Denham District Court. Denying everything, his legal counsel furiously rejected those claims. The star receiver remained dead silent throughout the ordeal. The magistrate granted absolute freedom without demanding a single cent for bond, yet slapped him with a brutal restraining mandate against the accuser. Next up, a high-stakes courtroom showdown hitting on April 1st, 2026. Listen closely. The athlete vehemently denies this. We are strictly talking unproven claims here. A jury has yet to hand down any damn guilty verdict at all. Yet within this ruthless league, where public image and team culture command absolute power, having a monumental criminal threat looming overhead instantly transforms the entire narrative into a massive crisis. Man, I truly believed his locker room presence was phenomenal. I honestly felt his relentless energy behind closed doors fueled our squad perfectly. But wait, what exactly unfolded? This overwhelming real-world chaos simply broke the team's vital concentration. Shannon Sharpe fires zero blanks here. That legend boldly screams the exact brutal truths cowardly executives merely whisper. Outside scandals generated deafening chaos, completely overshadowing his spectacular weekend gridiron heroics. Legendary gunslinger Warren Moon barely blinked at this explosive termination, pointing fingers directly at the receiver's endless trail of chaos. Frankly, calling it chaos barely scratches the damn surface. We're looking beyond courtroom battles. It's an escalating toxic cycle. Think online meltdowns and that infamous yacht footage. Remember his explosive exit demands from Buffalo? This relentless shadow stalks the playmaker wherever he lands. Do those spectacular touchdowns justify this immense headache? Plus, a messy romantic entanglement violently warped this nightmare even further. The athlete and hip-hop queen Cardi B openly share a son, though their high-profile romance has been a spectacularly brutal roller coaster for the entire world to witness. Rumors exploded after the rap superstar savagely roasted him mid-concert, igniting furious gossip columns while violently merging celebrity beef with sports debates. Across the league, especially within Foxborough, where an iron-fisted obsession with winning trumps absolutely everything, top brass simply refused to tolerate such blinding, uncontrollable paparazzi exposure, tearing their carefully built empire to shreds. A flawless storm of utter devastation struck precisely when it hurt the absolute most. Shocking arrests erupting mid-postseason tournament, nasty romantic spats going viral, a heartbreaking championship defeat, then the ultimate sudden termination. These explosive sagas only hit wildly gifted athletes, who radiate so much volatile energy that executives face a grueling choice. Are the stats worth the maddening circus? New England slammed down their final verdict. Remarkably enough, the ousted superstar absorbed this massive blow with such staggering grace that it instantly shut down his harshest haters. Taking straight to social media, he blasted a poignant goodbye to the franchise, immensely grateful for a wild ride. Blood brothers always, Pats. Catch you on the flip side. He stamped it with his iconic number 8 and linked their page. Zero rage, zero nasty subliminal shots, zero venomous rants aimed at the management, only pure respect from a warrior violently stripped of his job immediately after dragging his entire squad directly into a monumental championship. Yet hiding beneath that flawlessly polished exterior lurked a wildly different beast. Sleuths quickly noticed him severing digital ties with New England, aggressively scrubbing every trace of team colors. A deafeningly silent online maneuver screaming pure finality. He's charging forward, leaving the entire football universe violently anticipating his next earth-shattering destination. The intense Kansas City bid. Once New England officially dumped the superstar on March 11, 2026, massive hype instantly swarmed around a Kansas City mega deal. Pundits violently agree this blockbuster pairing makes perfect tactical sense. Glaring receiver holes, vast financial freedom, plus a jaw-dropping chance to catch missiles from Mahomes. Let's set the explosive stage. Kansas City concluded their 2025 campaign with a miserable 6-11 finish, a catastrophic nosedive that absolutely paralyzed fans used to an unstoppable decade-long dynasty of pure dominance. The culprit behind this disastrous crash? Simple. Their superhuman field general wrecked his knee ligaments, utterly obliterating any championship hopes before the battle truly kicked off. A crippled Mahomes spells absolute doom, meaning this franchise without their god-tier leader is nothing. That devastating medical report instantly doomed their entire campaign, forcing the battered squad into pure panic mode while secretly plotting a monstrous, league-shattering comeback for their king. Today, the legend is furiously rehabbing. He desperately vows to dominate the 2026 kickoff, yet management refuses to cowardly hide while their savior recovers. They are aggressively mutating this lineup into a powerhouse. One brilliantly shocking bombshell from this exact manic period involved shipping elite all-pro superstar Trent McDuffie directly to Los Angeles in a savage swap. Snagging a massive haul of future rookies featuring a premium round one treasure proves they haven't abandoned their magical quarterback whatsoever. Instead, they are violently reloading his arsenal, hoarding premium draft assets, slicing the budget, and orchestrating a flawless master plan to construct an absolute juggernaut that will ruthlessly conquer the league once Patrick Mahomes heals up and returns to his terrifying peak condition. Shipping away, McDuffie was a massive financial stroke of genius. Whispers around the league suggest Kansas City now wields a jaw-dropping war chest of roughly $24.9 million right before the chaotic free agency frenzy begins. That is ample financial firepower to unleash a blockbuster strike for a lethal pass catcher while keeping their defensive foundation entirely intact. Step into the spotlight, Stefon Diggs. The fundamental logic behind bringing this superstar to the Midwest is incredibly simple and utterly devastating. We are talking about the undisputed king of the gridiron. Nobody else manipulates the pocket, hunts down unseen passing lanes, and launches absolute lasers through suffocating coverage quite like him. His pinpoint accuracy defies logic. Now imagine pairing that supernatural arm talent with a seasoned route-running assassin who literally transforms every single defensive misstep into pure artistry. Shaking loose from defensive backs with terrifying suddenness and delivering spectacular highlight reel performances every single Sunday is simply what he does. Hooking up with a generational gunslinger is the ultimate lifeblood required to keep generating those mind-bending statistics as he fiercely battles through his age 32 campaign. Complex playbooks and brilliant commanders have always been the ultimate catalyst for his explosive success throughout his spectacular career. Fortunately, Andy Reid operates an offensive utopia that remains the absolute pinnacle of the sport when it comes to maximizing perimeter weapons. Following that shocking New England revelation, prominent analysts immediately catapulted the reigning champions straight into the top 5 dream destinations for this coveted phenom. Experts vividly predicted an absolute statistical explosion within that aerial circus. Others doubled down, crowning the reigning overlords as the most terrifying threat to secure his coveted autograph. Pointing to 7 breathtaking 1,000-yard campaigns over 8 brutal seasons, they universally agreed he would instantly supercharge a wildly inconsistent receiving unit. They desperately need that battle-tested alpha dog, the undeniable primary target that every single legendary championship dynasty absolutely requires to survive the postseason gauntlet. Some fearless insiders pushed the envelope even further, practically guaranteeing this blockbuster alliance would inevitably materialize. They painted a thrilling picture, a bitter nemesis transforming into a lethal weapon, bringing invaluable intel from his agonizing playoff battles waged back in upstate New York. That intimate history of heartbreak grants him a profound understanding of their invincibility, perfectly equipping him to orchestrate their continued reign of terror from within the palace walls. The current financial landscape dictates a high-stakes, short-term gamble. We are talking about a brutal prove-yourself pact hovering between $8 to $12 million annually, loaded with explosive performance triggers. It is the ultimate warrior's wager, risking it all on pure talent to command an earth-shattering fortune in the very near future. General Manager Trey Yvich happens to be an absolute mastermind at engineering these exact mercenary pacts. Minimal upfront risk, astronomical statistical rewards, and a flawless symbiotic triumph for everyone involved. Local pundits have already circled his name in bright red ink as the ultimate candidate for this mercenary mission. Timing is absolutely everything here, and this warrior is starving for a championship. His resume is a masterclass in sheer devastation. Well over 9,000 receiving yards and 67 spectacular trips to the end zone. Despite hoarding numerous prestigious accolades, that Lombardi trophy remains painfully elusive. He has stood on the sidelines, watching his bitter rivals hoist the crown time and time again. Leading the charge for a heavily cursed franchise, he experienced unimaginable heartbreak entirely because that magical quarterback and his unstoppable empire constantly blocked their path to glory. No one grasps the terrifying magnitude of that quarterback's greatness better than him, and he knows exactly the kind of immortal powerhouse he would become a part of by signing that contract. Beyond the numbers lies a deeply fascinating personal respect that the receiver openly confessed to the world. Speaking about his arch-nemesis, he boldly declared that if anyone could conquer human mortality itself, it would be him. That is a staggering admission coming from a fierce gladiator who bled on the field trying to dethrone him. Furthermore, amid the chaotic media frenzy during the 2023 championship week, he ruthlessly shut down the doubters, predicting an upset, stating flatly that the critics had never stared down the barrel of that specific quarterback's brilliance, whereas he had survived the inferno. The chilling implication was clear. Until you have felt that sheer offensive terror firsthand, you simply cannot comprehend the apocalyptic threat standing across the line of scrimmage. Having suffered through the nightmare, he now holds the glorious power to join the winning side. Think about the catastrophic shockwaves this move would send rippling through the rest of the roster. Dark clouds of doubt currently surround their legendary tight end. Rumors of him hanging up his cleats are exploding, leaving fans terrified about what a battered 37-year-old warrior will bring to the table after a shockingly quiet 2025 campaign. Should the veteran return for one last ride, uniting him with this explosive receiver and their magical signal caller creates an apocalyptic nightmare for opposing defenses. If the legend actually walks away forever, then this new acquisition instantly transforms into the undisputed beating heart of their 2026 attack, absolutely skyrocketing his immense value into the stratosphere. It is a flawless, bulletproof masterstroke for the organization, entirely bulletproofing their future no matter how the looming retirement drama unfolds. Yet brace yourself for the twist. Those very same terrifying vulnerabilities are exactly why the front office must ruthlessly pursue this acquisition with relentless aggression. Whenever instability threatens your passing rhythm and veteran anchors start fading, the only viable survival tactic is to arm your injured commander with a terrifying arsenal of playmakers to protect his fragile comeback journey. Having clawed his way back from catastrophic knee surgery just 12 months prior while casually dropping over 1,000 receiving yards, this warrior fears absolutely nothing about the brutal rehabilitation grind. He conquered the pain. He mastered the grueling process. Sharing the agonizing trauma of a shredded knee forged a profound, unbreakable psychological bond between these two titans that transcends the actual sport. We also must confront the intense pursuit of immortality, because cementing a legendary legacy consumes the souls of aging veterans, staring down the twilight of their epic journeys. Boasting well over 9,000 career yards and a treasure trove of elite honors, his golden ticket to Canton is already being forged in real time under the brightest lights. However, the notoriously ruthless selection committee and the bloodthirsty fans themselves demand to see true greatness forged in the blazing fires of a championship crucible. That ultimate prize still evades his grasp. Meanwhile, this Midwestern powerhouse operates as an unstoppable, mechanized factory guaranteed to punch tickets to the grandest stage on earth. You simply cannot underestimate the gravity of this reality. For a 32-year-old nomad who has already survived 4 incredibly turbulent locker rooms across the league, escaping a lifetime of venomous whispers labeling him a toxic diva, by marching straight into the heartland and helping secure yet another Lombardi trophy, would execute the most jaw-dropping redemption arc in modern sports history. Yet, a final, earth-shattering variable lurks in the shadows, elevating this perfect alliance completely out of reach of any other franchise, hopelessly scrambling to secure his services in the open market. Behold the mastermind, Andy Reid. When examining sheer strategic brilliance on the gridiron, virtually zero football legends rival the colossal empire he forged over time. This legendary maestro deploys a scheme that mutates elite targets into legends, miraculously prolonging gridiron lifespans well past everyday mortal bounds. Enter the superstar, a route-running sniper who weaponizes his elite football IQ to completely shred zone defenses, fitting flawlessly into that explosive Midwestern kingdom. Forget the grueling struggle of memorizing some utterly alien, complicated playbook. This veteran flawlessly amplifies the tactical foundation fueling this unstoppable empire. Yet we must confront the imminent hazards, bloodthirsty rivals, and looming fate. Brace yourselves for the brutal truth, as skipping the dark side ruins the journey and offering our audience nothing but dazzling, sunshine-filled fairy tales strictly polished for a glorious cinema montage would be a massive betrayal of your deep trust. The cold, hard truth. Bringing this megastar to the kingdom unleashes terrifying, earth-shattering gambles, and anyone blindly ignoring these catastrophic red flags is living in pure fantasy. Therefore, we must violently rip away the curtain to dissect every single hidden trapdoor, every explosive booby trap standing between this gladiator and that crimson armor, before finally unveiling our ultimate prophecy. Phase 1, the inescapable courtroom warfare he faces. Our protagonist battles extremely severe off-grid altercations, grappling with high-stakes allegations of a forceful dispute. Total innocence was declared. His defense squad spins the chaotic eruption as a mere cash quarrel gone wildly awry, rejecting the rumors. The gavels have not struck yet. However, welcome to the ruthless jungle of today's league. Securing a warrior entangled in major criminal firestorms requires a terrifying, high-stakes wager on the commissioner's wrath. The ironclad conduct code gives the overlord terrifying power to ruthlessly penalize gladiators snared within devastating legal crosshairs, even if they miraculously dodge the slammer. A sudden banishment, however brief, completely annihilates the strategic blueprint of a franchise desperately resurrecting its wounded leader. Should this sniper vanish for the opening 4 battles amidst a corporate witch hunt, you've just detonated a massive crisis instead of ending one. Plus, this mighty kingdom's barracks already bleed from similar venom. Their youthful explosive target battles his own severe off-grid household turbulence and dreads an impending, crushing exile. Injecting our veteran into that powder keg means juggling a pair of premier weapons, dodging apocalyptic courtroom fury all at once. That brews an absolute public relations nightmare stacked upon a roster crisis. Countless pundits vividly scream that this dynasty already harbors plenty of chaotic aerial assassins, making it totally reckless to inject further chaotic civilian drama into a wildly volatile armory. Peril 2. Age. At 32, hitting 33 in late 2026, he survived a torn knee in 2024, though his 2025 spectacle was shockingly majestic, proving his superhuman agility resurrected itself. The biological cliff, for an assassin heavily dependent on sheer burst, rapid pivots, and blindingly sharp maneuvering, is notoriously cruel. That steep plunge never halts at 33, it plummets. His 2025 run featured 10 brutal matches, scraping under 50 receiving yards. His postseason fury severely evaporated, mustering a measly 27.5 yards nightly across 4 elimination wars. These metrics aren't purely apocalyptic, yet they certainly shatter the illusion of a predator hunting at his absolute prime. Franchises gambling their lives on this guy are buying today's mortal iteration, ignoring that invincible snowy titan of yesterday, and dreading the grim, accelerating erosion of his treadwear. Hazard 3. Battlefield rank. The mighty Midwestern Empire refuses to casually toss this newcomer the crown and crown him the absolute, undisputed alpha wolf. They already unleash a wildly explosive, youthful weapon who absolutely monopolizes the Empire's massive long-term financial hope. They deploy a blazing lightning bolt whose supersonic velocity literally no other mortal alive can duplicate. Their legendary, earth-shattering tight end Titan might return, guaranteeing the most prolific mammoth in history violently devours a colossal chunk of passes. Amidst this chaotic firepower, what is his exact destiny? The Supreme Alpha? A highly lethal sidekick? A mere situational mercenary in niche strikes? For a proud Titan who spent his entire life reigning as the sole undisputed alpha, a predator craving massive target loads to ignite his furious rhythm, suddenly morphing into a mere background actor, introduces a truly brutal mental and physical shock to the system. Don't ignore his incredibly fiery aura, a superstar historically prone to volcanic outbursts, the second his spotlight dims, or his lethally brilliant talents go unused. His epic, bridge-burning, this chaotic behavior weaves a toxic thread, ripping violently through several colossal franchises. This ruling dynasty's sanctuary, strictly governed by the mastermind and their god-tier quarterback, shines as the single most unbreakable, harmonious fortress in the sport. Yet, if our protagonist suffers target starvation beneath his royal expectations, his dark past practically guarantees brutal fury. Injecting sheer venom into a chaotic barracks, violently surviving massive troop rotations, and nursing a wounded commander is precisely the apocalyptic doom they must avoid. Alright, time to furiously unmask the rival scavengers hunting his talents. The Midwestern Titans aren't alone here, and the bloodthirsty bidding war will violently mutate the financial payouts and front office strategies everywhere. Bizarrely, his former snowy kingdom surfaced as a comeback rumor, igniting arguably the most breathtaking, cinematic reunion narrative in league lore. From 2020 to 2023, his explosive peak unfolded in Buffalo, forging an almost telepathic bond with Josh Allen as an absolutely legendary duo. That bridge spectacularly burned when he demanded an exit, ultimately touching down in Houston. Yet this league is famous for burying the hatchet. Should Buffalo genuinely present a mutually beneficial setup to bring him home, negotiations might erupt instantly. Keep an eye on the Denver Broncos too. They pursued him heavily during the last break and definitely possessed the firepower to strike. Whispers frequently highlight the Tennessee Titans as a landing spot, a place where he might anchor a rebuilding roster as an incredibly dependable veteran secondary weapon. However, those Titans are nowhere near lifting a Lombardi trophy today. For a ringless superstar staring down a rapidly closing door, grabbing a massive paycheck from a struggling franchise completely reeks of a pure mercenary tactic. It exposes a guy prioritizing cash over grasping ultimate glory. Meanwhile, New England stalks A.J. Brown. Kansas City is aggressively hunting Stefon Diggs, throwing the entire receiving market into pure chaos. Welcome to the absolute most explosive phase of the league year. A single solitary choice sends massive shockwaves, radically reshaping the entire gridiron map. Let us strip away the noise and deliver a brutally honest prediction of how this massive saga truly unfolds. Envisioning him in Kansas City makes total sense. They hold the financial power, the desperate urge, and the perfect map. His hunger to win aligns perfectly. Plus, catching bullets from a fully healed Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate prize. Yet terrifying hazards lurk. Unresolved courtroom battles loom, while league discipline enforcers watch closely. Father time is a very terrifying reality for an athlete demanding elite bodily mechanics. Carving out targets inside that jam-packed offense demands absolute mastery, especially with rival organizations circling fiercely, including profoundly dramatic twists like a triumphant Buffalo return. Kansas City dare not simply assume this brutal war is already won. March 9th ignites the brutal negotiating window. March 11th launches the fresh season, unleashing this superstar into totally unrestricted waters. The clock is aggressively ticking, the rivalries are incredibly cutthroat, and the stakes are astronomical. Stay absolutely glued to this saga, whether he chooses the Chiefs or another. Stefon Diggs prepares to drop a massive bombshell, cementing the ultimate legacy of an insanely captivating football journey of our times. Those massive aftershocks will completely fracture the football landscape for decades. If you found this thrilling breakdown absolutely mind-blowing, smash that screen for more epic content. I immensely appreciate your support today, and I cannot wait to see you next time out.